ultimately, inside of Pakistan, they're going to be the lead organization. We're providing them as much as. In our assessment, that we expect to see additional attempts by remnants of the Taliban and Al Qaida to disrupt the ongoing Afghan political process and ongoing reconstruction efforts by attacking Afghan security forces, non-governmental organizations, and coalition forces. To counter this threat, you can expect to see continued coalition operations across Afghanistan, particularly in the south, where we have additional forces arriving and beginning operations. The 22nd Marine Expeditionary Unit, as one example, today operating in Uruzgan during their time here with us. Those Taliban elements and others who would attempt to send Afghanistan back into the dark days of the past have two options. Either lay down their arms, reject violence, and peacefully engage in the emerging Afghan political process to help rebuild Afghanistan, or face coalition and Afghan National Army forces who will guarantee that they will be swept aside. As a result of the deaths that occurred in December of 2002, there was an extensive review done of the procedures in the facility. A number, as I mentioned, of significant changes were made, and I've got full confidence in the procedures being used today. We have the International Committee of the Red Cross visiting that facility every 2 weeks. They typically stay for several days at a time, and we very carefully look at their findings and recommendations to us as they conclude each of those visits. I've personally met with them, and their input's very important, and they effectively provide that outside set of eyes to look at what we're doing and to give us insights and advice. Table on seizing any of the senior leadership. Anytime we receive any allegation, we look into it, we start an investigation, we assess if there's facts behind it, and then we take appropriate action in the results of that preliminary investigation. That's been the case with some of our distant or satellite, if you will, transient facilities for detainees here in the country. I came away from those meetings with a strong sense that the Pakistani military leadership recognizes that Al Qaida and their foreign fighter proxies in the federally administered tribal areas fundamentally represent a threat not only to Pakistan, but to the world community. The Pakistanis recognize that the threat remains, and they are working forcefully to address it. And I would say they also have developed complementary political, military plans to kill, capture, or ensure the surrender of these dangerous elements. They are an important set of targets that we focus on every single day here in Afghanistan, but we're also focused on taking apart their networks, and their networks extend in various parts of this region and various other parts of the world as well. So I think the combination of those two efforts, the focus on leadership targets and the focus on their networks, will have the overall disruptive effect to prevent them from being able to carry out major attacks. But they remain dangerous organizations. We're absolutely deadly serious about finding the key aspects of that network and taking it apart, and we're absolutely serious about killing and capturing the senior leadership. Expectations that they'll continue to operate both in the tribal areas where we know we've got a mutual problem